winter storms. The second one could be a doozy. You're going to have to keep the Weather Channel coffee pot full for the next few days. That is for certain. We're all going to be using it. Hello and welcome into Weather Underground. I'm Mark Elliott, filling in for Mike Bettis today, and let's get right on into it. Here's what's on tap tonight. Ilias exits, bracing for Jonas, and a stormy south. First up, Ilias exits. The first of two winter storm systems is winding down as it spreads east, but Winter Storm Ilias was in Nebraska this time yesterday. It's now producing snow more than 1,000 miles east. Find out when this one moves out all the way. Then bracing for Jonas. This is shaping up to be a monster snowstorm. Washington, D.C., oh boy, a foot or more of snow potentially for you. We're timing out all the biggest impacts from snow to high winds to coastal flooding. And stormy south. On the warmer side of Winter Storm Jonas, we could see some severe weather hitting the south. We got special balloon launches on the way to find out which cities are at the greatest risk of getting not only tornadoes, but also snow. We're bringing you those balloon launches live right here in just a few minutes. Winter Storm Ilias continues to spread all kinds of mess, right? Snow, a wintry mix, it's moving east. Slick roads, low visibility has made for some really rough driving conditions, as you can see here across the board. Louisville, Indianapolis, Nashville, you all got hit by light snow, but it was all about the timing, right? The timing of that snow during your morning commute. We had cold air ahead of it, so any snow that fell stuck. In fact, we can show you this whole swath of snow that happened because of Winter Storm Ilias. Look at this, from the Midwest into the Tennessee Valley, a nice little corridor here of 1 to 3, if not 3 to 5 inches of snow. A couple of inches in those purple areas, a couple of areas there, 5 to 8. Can't completely rule that out. Now, as we find where our snow has moved to now, it's significantly further east, and it is kind of winding down a bit. That said, it's moving in towards the megalopolises, right? Let's zoom in towards Washington, D.C. and towards Baltimore. Your snow is just arriving. It's light, but it is certainly trying to fill in along the I-95 corridor. On the south side of our system, we go through Virginia into North Carolina. From Richmond to Raleigh, you're seeing some light snow also. How about we find out where we go from here, right? Zooming into the RPM, the high-resolution modeling. Here's where we are right now. As we kind of loop this forward, we got to fizzle out this storm, right? It hits the mountains, it's disintegrating, goes off the coast. But this is only storm number 1. Yes, it's moving away. Storm number 2, right at the end of this loop, starts to show up. So that is something that we are going to be talking about a lot through the next hour or so, right? Taking a live look at 3 locations right in the bullseye of Winter Storm Jonas. We got Philadelphia, we got Washington, D.C., Blacksburg, Virginia. You could do pretty well with this storm. Each of these cities could see a foot and a half of snow, potentially more. My goodness, the storm is set here. We are getting ready for a whopper of a snowstorm. And you know what, when it comes to all of these things coming together, we've really seen almost everything you would look for. So that's what's top on here.
Yeah, what's this for?
Wind in the mid-Atlantic region in particular. The storm right now located in the Rockies, low pressure getting deeper and deeper. Once it moves over into those coastal areas, it's going to feed on this baroclinic zone where there's a really strong contrast in temperatures. Really warm over the ocean. Ocean temperatures are really warm, and that's in part due to what happened in December. And so you've got this incredible contrast in temperature, very strong jet stream, really strong low, and there's the RPM model. We're starting to get this high-resolution model. So there you see Friday, 9 o'clock, we are really starting to get hammered by snow at that time along the 81 corridor, Roanoke, Charlottesville, Blacksburg, and then it's going to be getting into D.C. overnight. So Saturday morning, that's really your critical time for D.C., and there you see the snowfall totals, and I mean, you're just talking about incredible numbers there.
And so this is now an official forecast, right? It's
Yes.
no longer a model output. These are
Right.
forecast numbers. This is what we actually expect to happen at this point.
Right, so the Weather Channel puts all of these products together and we come up with our own best forecast, and based on that we're seeing a very large area of 1 foot to 2 feet of snow across a lot of the mid-Atlantic region.
Carl, thanks so much. You know, one way that we get a better handle on the potential impacts of a storm is that we send up more weather balloons. And typically, National Weather Service offices release weather balloons every every 12 hours. But earlier today, from these sites, they began releasing balloons every 6 hours for the eastern, southern, and central portions of the country. And we are now lucky enough to have a live release on our show. Meteorologist Rob Fry joining us from St. Louis. Rob, I want to get right on into this, start the process. Talk us through what you're doing with this balloon launch.
We're doing extra balloon launches so we gather more data to put in those forecast models to get a very clear picture of what this potential winter storm is going to go and how it's going to impact the East Coast.
All right, so Rob, let's go through the launch. We want to see this happen live. What do you do? Is it literally just a balloon? Let's see it.
Actually, the device that we're sending up with the balloon, this is kind of like a little mini weather station that's going to travel from the surface where we are all the way up to the top of the atmosphere, and that's going to capture all the weather observations between here and up. So we'll launch whenever y'all are ready.
We're ready when you are. Let's do it. All right, so Rob's walking back, grabbing the balloon, and it's attached to that very device that he just showed us. So here we go.
All right, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Pretty good wind there.
Yeah, so the balloon's taken off, and so it's not only from this station, but from the National Weather Service offices across the central, eastern, and southern portions of the country. Rob, when you get all this data back together, is there anything in particular that the models are going to be ingesting and really looking for to basically set up the environment ahead of this storm?
We're looking at a snapshot. We're trying to take many snapshots of the environment, the whole atmosphere ahead of the system. The system's right now developing out to our west, and basically we're going to try to hone in on this as it gets closer to the Central Plains and the East Coast and how things are going to evolve with the atmosphere so the models can have a better handle of the situation.
All right, Rob, thanks so much for doing this live with us. It was a fascinating view of the science taking place live right there from the National Weather Service. You know, despite all this data coming in from the balloon launches, there's still some big question marks. The northern edge of this storm is a tricky part of the forecast. So coming up, I head to the lab with Carl Parker to understand what will cause this